Hello guys, my name is Wale Farrell. I'm a tech entrepreneur and you're watching Tech Roundup, your weekly opinion, views and analysis of the top tech events happening around the world with a focus on Nigeria. This week, we'll talk about Netflix price hike for US subscribers as Nigeria organizes an EGovernment Summit. With me to analyze these stories is Babajide Okosowo, who is a research consultant at the channel. It's a packed show, so let's get started. There's a report that Netflix is raising most of its prices in the US. This announcement made recently said that there will be changes that will see the standard subscription go from $13 to $14 and the premium plan will jump from $16 to $18. However, the basic plan of $9 remains unchanged. The new price will go into effect immediately for new subscribers, while existing users will see an increase in their monthly bill over the next 30 days. Netflix says this price hike has been implemented to underwrite an expansion in original movies and shows. Maybe you've noticed that. From what we gathered, Netflix had done this price hike last year in January, and they're doing this again. So we don't know if this is going to be an annual event. There has been similar changes for Netflix users in Canada. The question is, should Nigerian users expect this sometime soon? Beyond Netflix, there's been a global increase in adoption of streaming services, and Nigeria is not an exception. Despite early adoption of Netflix among some segments in Nigeria, some local players are also playing in the space, and there's evidence that players like Roku TV and Showmax by DSTV are making gains. But the real question is, what kind of shift can we expect in TV and streaming entertainment in Nigeria, and is there an opportunity for new technology players to come into the space? Let's bring in Jide to analyze and discuss this story. The point of the story is really to look at it from a Nigerian perspective. One, I mean, we see a lot of Nigerians not just signing up on Netflix, but enjoying streaming service generally, right? What kind of impacts would this have?
Okay, thanks, Wally. There are three ways I'd like us to discuss this. Three ways. So let's start with the first, which is our Nigerian spending more. And that information, the country's Bureau of Statistics, the National Bureau of Statistics, presented that information to us not too long ago.
Yeah.
And from their own records, they show that Nigerians, even before COVID, in 2018, Nigerian families, that's what I mean, spent more money in 2018, even compared to 2019. This had nothing to do with COVID. So prior to COVID, the trend had shown that families were spending less in Nigeria, and that was also because families had less income. The second thing I would like to talk about is how much do Nigerians spend on entertainment, things like Netflix, Roku, how much do Nigerian families commit to this spending? And the information shows that at the moment, entertainment is really not a priority for Nigerian families. What is priority is food. The third thing is, how does this affect Netflix and its pricing? I haven't gotten any confirmation if the prices are going to be, the new price changes will affect subscribers from Lagos, from Nigeria.
Yeah.
However, if it does, what you most likely notice is that consumers will have to look at the alternatives. So we might see an inconsistency in payment subscriptions on Netflix. So there are some months some people would pay, there are some months that they wouldn't pay. And sometimes because of the exchange rate, when people check their emails and see those SMSs and see the Netflix debit charge, some people might cancel their subscriptions.
Yeah.
So it is likely that those that would not be impacted if if there's a price change, will be those that are within an upper income market. So you will see we are likely to see most people that Netflix for them is an option on subscribing from the app.
At this year's EGovernment Summit scheduled for November 17, themed COVID-19, impetus for accelerated adoption of e-government. Nigeria and 6 foreign countries, including France, South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, Malaysia, and Ethiopia, will be participating and showcasing their e-government experiences geared towards accelerating online presence of the Nigerian government at all levels. You can read the full story on TechRoundUpS3. Countries around the world have adopted e-government practices for decades. Even if we shift our focus from obvious countries like United States and Canada, we still have countries like Korea that have strategically planned and implemented policies for building technology infrastructure and e-government systems from the 1980s and are now one of the best countries for ICT and e-government. E-governance and eventually smart governance must be adopted in Nigeria to position the country to be competitive in an ever-changing, technologically driven world. Internally, technology adoption in government, which we have reviewed a few times on this show, collectively helps us as a country and individually as citizens. It helps with efficient resource allocation, transparency, and better governance. As Nigeria participates in the upcoming Digital Summit, there are a few areas that are of significant importance and we must focus on. And they include 1. Advancement in the current procurement technology to drive more inclusive and a fair process. 2. Automation of citizen services and participation in all tiers of government. And 3, to name a few, public service communication and feedback collection. And the list goes on and on. Again, let's bring in Jide to talk a little bit more about this story. The second story is about, there's a summit coming up with Nigeria participating with several other countries talking about e-government, especially with a focus on COVID, using technology from a government perspective to solve the COVID problem and solve other social issues attached to it. In what areas do you think we should put technology into for every Nigerian to be able to feel the impact of technology in their lives? So at the micro and at the macro level, where should the federal government, or frankly speaking, government across all tiers, where should they be putting effort to bring technology into how how they govern generally?
So there are several things the government should do. The country is significantly and severely behind. More questions. The government just simply needs to ask more questions. First is, are Nigerians engaging with the government's websites? Which of the government's websites is providing a lot of engagement? What we see at the moment is it's really a one-way communication. I can't think of any government agency that is really doing very well, when it comes to engagement.
And receiving feedback.
Feedback. So what we have is a lot of static information. We have websites, and that a lot of them have old and obsolete layouts. And this websites just have information. It's not engaging. If you follow the trends as well, even the websites interaction that citizens have, even for private businesses, people are moving to more creative options, mobile applications. And the website is no longer a front, it's no longer in the front driver's seat. What we have is we have mobile apps, we have USSDs, you have other creative ways. Social media is really the major driving force of consumer engagement. Social media, no longer just the website. So the question is the government needs to ask itself is, how effective is the government using social media to engage?
Our number of the week on this episode is 102 million. That's the number of early votes in the most recent US election. That shows participation of electorate. Can we get more participation in Nigeria elections through technology? Have a great week ahead and see you again next week.